Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. The Steam page and feature reveal for Pro Cycling Manager 25 has just dropped. The game summary reads, new graphics for an even more realistic simulation. Become a team manager and lead your riders to the top. Choosing sponsors, recruiting riders, managing the race, it's all up to you. PCM 25 is set to release June 5th of 2025. So Cyanide and Nacon are back for another year of this title. And the obvious new feature is a move to Unreal Engine 5. We've experienced a baker's dozen worth of years on the old engine with the graphics virtually unchanged the entire period of that time. And if you've watched any of my feature request videos for years, this has been the number one item on the list, and this is the year we're going to get it. Now, notoriously, Cyanide has a small studio. This might be their cash cow. This might be the one that brings them in the largest chunk of revenue long term, especially because of the yearly release of it. But we tend to get smaller updates year on year because more of their team is committed to other titles that they are producing from scratch or are only in their second or third iterations of a title that only comes out once every 4 to 5 years. As a result, the bare bones team that keeps PCM and the Tour de France 25 titles keeps them going on this yearly cycle, but we tend to get limited updates. This is going to be the bulk of the update that we are seeing. This move to Unreal Engine 5 is a good one. It's going to provide an immediate, massive visual change to how the game is played. Pro Cycling Manager 25 enters in a new era. With a switch to Unreal Engine 5, the game now benefits from a much more realistic representation of cycling and even higher graphics quality for an even more immersive experience. Rediscover the roads of the Tour de France, the Vuelta, the classics, and the monuments in a whole new light. With completely reworked landscapes and more realistic lighting effects, the Pro Cycling Manager experience has never been so close to reality. In addition to these elements, the representation of rain has been improved with ground puddles and reflections, promising a whole new experience under the weather during your sessions in Paris-Roubaix, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and many other races. As I mentioned, with a smaller team, this move was a move that probably took a long time and has been in the works for a number of years. There were hints that this was something that was on the way a couple of years back, so I do believe that this was probably along the lines of a 3-year project for them to make this transition, and has been one of the chief reasons why there have been very limited updates over the last few years as they've maintained that smaller team to keep producing the game. And while this is the obvious main feature for PCM 25, and it's already a good one, I will absolutely be playing PCM 25 without a doubt for that alone. But it is not the only feature, however, it is the primary. So as a secondary feature, the new sponsor system that was introduced in PCM 24, as is the norm for them, you bring it in, you get it functioning, and then you evolve that system as time goes on. Well, here is the evolution of that. Choose your sponsors as you wish. In PCM 25, the choice of sponsors is crucial to your team's success. In addition to the budgetary advantage, sponsors now have their own additional parameters and conditions to meet if you want them to agree to finance your cycling team. So there's a negotiation, not just waiting and getting offers. There are now membership conditions depending on the sponsor's territory/nationality, a certain percentage of young people in the team, results requirements, or even an exclusivity condition if they want to be the sole title sponsor. It's up to you to think about the best conditions and adapt to the requirements of the sponsors who come to you to create the best possible cycling team. There's a lot more dynamics going on regarding the sponsor system in and out. It's going to be a lot more fluid than it has been in the past. And that is a fantastic thing, as it is a major feature of what goes on in the world of cycling and in the PCM game. More than that, you're in constant contact with sponsors, and you need to make the best choices for your team's future. In PCM 25, as your season progresses, your network of contacts expands and sponsors will come your way. That at least sounds a little bit like the old one, other than the constant contact part. If you're actively looking for sponsors, those discovered during the season will be able to contact you and express an interest in your team. Sponsors discovered are now initialized at the start of your game, according to the team and level you've chosen for your structure. It's up to you to decide whether to sign up directly or to wait for new opportunities, with the risk that the sponsor may lose interest in you later. In addition to this mechanism, sponsors interested in your team are now individual. So you can now sign up sponsors individually and ensure that your structure has 1 to 3 title sponsors. Depending on the sponsor's wishes and your own, you can choose the number of partners present in your team's name during your seasons. So I think one of the biggest features, besides requirements to be able to get a sponsor offer, besides having to meet certain thresholds here, there, wherever, we now have sponsors divided individually, allowing you to have anywhere from 1 to 3 sponsors. But it also looks like there's exclusivity, so there are going to be some sponsors that want to be the sole sponsor. They'll offer you more in order to have that, but will it be more than what you get if you break it down into 3 different components? Will there be anything similar to have 2 title sponsors, or is it simply 1 or freely 2 or 3? We'll have to wait and see what happens with that when the game releases, but I am certainly intrigued by this progression of the sponsor system. More advanced game options make every game in PCM 25 unique. Options are now decentralized and specific to each game. You can customize both new difficulty options. There are financial, level of opponents in the race, sponsor objectives, etc. So we are splitting up the difficulties. It's not just generic, though there are still 4 generic difficulty levels, but you can customize, which is fantastic. You know me, we're going to be taking the hardest settings across the board. And choose game preferences, speed of characteristic evolution, AI sponsor renewal, recovery system, and much more. Every game in PCM is different, and in these, the player becomes master of his or her own game environment. I love that feature. While we are limited on the quantity of new features this year, the quality of them is massive. We also have some secondary features here. More customized frames and helmets in the colors of the biggest teams, implementation of the option to rename your backups, addition of a new team sponsorship summary page, integration of objectives linked to sponsor membership requests, added accessibility options, AI with more realistic behavior, including better skimming, improved sprint phases, versatile sprinters, and teams that better target hilly stages. I'd say a lot of that one are things that have come in the last couple of patches to PCM 24. They will be there from the get-go on PCM 25, and maybe a little bit more in addition to those as they've trialed those new patches. Promotions and relegations are now based on the team rankings at the end of each season, which of course is a real-life change that has occurred recently, and so the game now reflects that, and of course that is a change that the community has desperately wanted for a very long time. Looking at the screenshots for the game, I think it's going to be quite apparent the quality upgrade that we have in this shift over to Unreal Engine 5, as the detail around the area, not just of the cyclist, not just of the road, but the detail of the environment is much higher. Here is a look at your custom difficulty level, where you can choose the finances, the prize money coefficients, sponsor objectives, transfers, level of in-race opponents, time trials. There's a scroll down where there is a lot more to customize. I love that you can make your own experience now from the very beginning, and not just have the generic difficulty settings. Here again, just the level of detail surrounding the road is so apparent, and a massive upgrade from the old engine. Here we can see the UX still looks very much, or is it UI? I'm not an expert on which one is which. Anyway, the functionality appears to be the same. The general view is the same, it looks like, as they've transferred over to the engine. They have focused on the in-race simulation and not so much on the menu screens, but that's fine. There's subtle changes, and that's all, but it already looks good. It's already a sharp look for the game. Cows in the background, nice touch. See, our mountainside is, we're getting, like, the rocks have better shape to them, a lot of different bushes, different types of grass as you go through. The crowd seems to have the same mechanics as they had before, just better models. But the cycling, the cyclists on the road, it's so apparent, so apparent that the improvement in the view. The models are essentially the same, but we are looking at a drastically improved state of things. Another thing that's clearly going to take a step forward is lighting, as you are getting proper shadows across the riders, and you can really see it on this one. Look at the quality of, for one, this is looking more like your Southern Hemisphere type race, or maybe an Iberian Peninsula type race. It's a drier environment. And yes, you had that in the previous game, but certainly not with this quality of detail. You can see the soil quality here, but then the shadow work of the trees across the riders, it's beautiful. I think one thing that's still missing from PCM and should be included, and TDF for that matter, in the near future. We'll talk about TDF here in a second, but these are the same old car models, just ported over into Unreal 5. These are the same car models that we've seen for many years within the game. One of the most common features of professional cycling is that your viewership, your audience enjoying, you get a ton of cyclists. This fence should be lined, obviously this screenshot doesn't have fans, okay? But if we go back to this screenshot, this pair, they shouldn't have a car parked alongside the road. We're in the middle of nowhere. There should be two bikes laying on the ground beside them. There should be two bikes up against the tree here. Something along those lines. That is one small touch that they are still missing, but I love it. What a progression in the graphics engine. I can't wait for PCM 25 to come out and play. Before we leave this one, TDF, the Tour de France title, also releasing June 5th. It is not the same game for those of you who have not experienced both, as it is not just console versus PC. In the Tour de France title, you take on the role of the rider from more of a first-person or third-person perspective. You control them out on the road, you pedal, you brake, you turn. Through that major difference, it too has moved to the new Unreal Engine 5, has a new multiplayer or advanced multiplayer feature. They have evolved their refueling system, which is a system I love. I wish PCM would adopt it. And it is the same team, by the way, or largely the same team. There's a lot of overlap between the Tour de France and the PCM titles, TDF and PCM. Most of the developers are the same, with a few to either direction that are exclusive to just that title. I don't know about you, but I am hyped for the move to the new graphics engine. We enter a new era for PCM and TDF. I look forward to playing them when they release on June 5th. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.